Hey everyone! Today's video is my fall wardrobe, and I found it really hard to narrow down these fragrances, but I have other fall videos coming out, so I chose the ones that I didn't really feature in the other videos. And today's video is also a collaboration with my friend Mojann. Go check her out. Her video is up right now. I'll leave a link in the description box. And actually one of the fragrances is one that I found from her channel. She's amazing. I love the way she describes fragrances. She has videos every single week. She was posting every day. I've fallen behind on my YouTube watching, so I don't know for sure if she's still posting. I know for sure she posts at least one, but I'm pretty sure she posts more than one. But she's so great. If you haven't checked her out already, please do that. I have 11 fragrances to talk about today. It's quite a bit. Like I said, I really struggled with paring down the number to like a reasonable amount. But I do have other videos coming. These 11 are some I've already been wearing and some that I'm waiting for it to get a little bit colder to start wearing, but they're all perfect for fall. Some of them are discontinued and or hard to find. So I apologize in advance. The first fragrance I want to talk about is from Vagranza. This is Melipona. I got this months ago, and when I first tried it, it was way too beast mode for the temperature. And so I've just been waiting for cooler days. And right now it hits 60s, sometimes mid 60s at the warmest. And this has been so good for those temperatures. Melipona, like I said, is a beast mode fragrance. Whew, it is very strong. If you don't like strong fragrances, don't bother with this one. A little goes a long way. And it's really affordable. It's only $60 on Vagranza's website. And I'm pretty sure my discount code still works, which I'll also leave in the description box. So this is that sweet syrupy patchouli with a little bit of coffee. It's reminiscent of black opium, but there's something else in there. I can't remember what it is. Something else that's similar, like maybe C, or maybe Labelle. It's like that syrupy patchouli smell, but it is perfect for fall. This I've already worn a little bit and I love it. It's so sweet and warm. It's a little sexy. I wouldn't really call this fragrance like sex bomb. Now that I've been wearing it, I think it's a little more wearable than that. I don't think this is really good for like an enclosed space because of how strong it is, but it does pierce a mask. So if you're looking for fragrances that will get through someone's mask, this is the one. The next fragrance is Girl of Now from Elie Saab, my favorite, me in a bottle. I actually kind of took a hiatus from this in the summer. I was wearing Girl of Now Forever a lot in the summer, but I don't know if I just like needed a break from it or what. I wasn't really craving it. And now that the weather is cooler, I have been craving this fragrance. It is so comforting to me. This, I think, is the perfect signature fragrance. It is almond and pistachio, a little bit of sweet patchouli. It's very sweet. It is a very sweet fragrance. I don't know, it's been really hitting the spot. I've described this so many times on other videos, I almost don't even want to bother anybody with it because I'll just use the same terms. But it is very like thick and heavy and sweet, but it's also light and airy in the same in the same breath. I don't know, in a different way. I find that I get a ton of compliments from this fragrance. I think because I feel so good wearing it, I think that's part of it, but the other part of it is it really doesn't smell like any other fragrance that I've smelled. It doesn't smell like a Labelle or a Black Opium or any of those other syrupy, thick, sweet fragrances. The nuttiness just adds a different dimension to it. This next fragrance is one that I also got in the summer and wasn't really into in warmer weather. This is from Jean Paul Gaultier. It's Labelle. This is pear, vanilla, and vetiver. And I love vetiver in fragrances, so to me, the vetiver doesn't bother me at all. And the pear in this is like a deep, it's almost like a baked pear with brown sugar. Like it's very sweet and warm. When I think of pear, I think juicy and fresh, but this is deeper than that. And the vanilla is very deep as well. I love this fragrance. I think the color is the perfect color for this fragrance. It matches really well. And this is another one that's sweet, but the vetiver adds kind of a freshness to it. I don't know if fresh is the right word. It's not like thick and syrupy like Girl of Now or Black Opium. It's got a little lightness to it, but still definitely best in cooler weather. This is one that I think Rhonda Larice was talking about, and that's what made me buy it. This is Flower by Kenzo L'Elixir. Oh my God. So Rhonda described this as Prada Candy, elevated. And I agreed at the time. As I've worn it, there's definitely like a caramel-ness about it, but it's more praline. It's more of like that candied, like there's like a bit of a chocolatiness, so it's deeper. And there's raspberry in this, which I can't say I noticed it at first, because when I think of raspberry, I think like bright red, juicy. And this is not that. This raspberry is like a baked raspberry, like a cobbler. It's so good. If you like Prada Candy, were disappointed by projection or longevity, this is your answer. It's got that like heavy duty sweet. There isn't anything else to it, but it lasts forever and it has decent projection. This I think is a little more grown up and a little more complex. It isn't just straight sweet. There's like extra. This next one is one that I originally considered more of a springtime perfume, but I've been wearing it a lot in these cooler temperatures, and I think it works really well as a transitional fragrance. This is from Carolina Herrera. This is Good Girl Leger, and this, unlike the original Good Girl, it has no coffee note. It still has like tuberose and jasmine. I think the tuberose is toned down in this one. It also has praline, cocoa, and I think dulce de leche. It's very sweet. It is a much more sweet version of Good Girl, and I prefer it. To me, I really notice the cocoa and the tonka. Did I say tonka? There's tonka. It's like a powdery cocoa, but it still has like that white floral base that Good Girl has. I think if you like sweet perfumes, but you don't like them like dripping sweet, this is a really good option because it has a little bit of sweetness to it, but it isn't tooth-achingly sweet. This next fragrance is one that Mojann introduced me to. It's from Boucheron. It is Place Vendôme. This is also a sweet white floral, but this is much sweeter. This is like a bright, clear honey, and then I think orange blossom. It's good for spring and fall. I really like this for warmer fall days, or if you live somewhere like Florida, somewhere where fall isn't really fall. I think this is a really good option because it works well in warmer temperatures. I love this fragrance because of how simple it feels. This feels like a really good, like easy reach, everyday fragrance. This one is great for the office. I can see anyone wearing this, like any age, any profession. I just think this is it's a classic scent. It doesn't smell like a classic. So I'm sure some people have some like weird word association with classic, but this doesn't smell like, I don't know, it's not trying to be anything but like a really nice, easygoing fragrance. These next fragrances, I believe, are discontinued and harder to find, except for one of them. So just fair warning. This is from Giorgio Armani. This is Armani Code Satin. I got this 2 years ago, I think, and along with Cashmere, and I fell in love with this one. This is vanilla and cocoa, and to me this smells like sweet cocoa powder. It kind of gives me a root beer vibe at first, but the dry down is very much like a sweet, almost like a hot cocoa packet. I think it's so reminiscent of a hot cocoa packet. That's what makes me think fall and cooler weather. It's a really nostalgic smell, I think, for me. It smells so good. This one is one that I tend to prefer in cooler temperatures, probably because of the hot cocoa correlation. I think it just works so well on cooler days. I have another root beer fragrance, and I'm just thinking how funny it is that I really like sort of root beer-esque fragrances, because I really don't like root beer. This is from Thierry Mugler. It is Alien Essence Absolue. I'm not really sure if this is discontinued or just limited release every year. It seems to be hard to find though, but if you can find it, I highly recommend it. This is, if you like Alien, I think you'd really like this. This is a perfect like fall winter version of that. It has the jasmine, but it also has this ambery-ness to it. This always reminds me of rainy days, which happen a ton in the fall where I live. It's just one of those fragrances that makes me want to curl up on my couch, read a good book, drink some spiced tea. It's got a really, like I said, a really amber quality about it. I mean, it matches the color perfectly. It's so good. And like that spiciness of root beer, that's spicy, but not like spicy. It's not like cinnamon. I always think cinnamon when I think spice and fragrance. But this is more complex than that. I promise this is the last fragrance where I'll mention root beer. This is from Vivienne Westwood. This is Boudoir. My friend Debbie introduced me to this, and she actually found this bottle for me, so thank you, Debbie. Before smelling this, I was not really into this kind of fragrance, and I've gotten more into this fragrance over the past few months. This smells a lot more mature. I don't want to say old lady, but like that's really the vibe. I guess dated is the word I want to say, but it's not dated. I'm like really digging myself a hole here. So in the beginning, this gives me really mild, watered down root beer vibes, but it changes so much over the course of wearing it. The dry down is more like a powdered honey. Like if you could make powdered sugar out of honey, that's what I feel like this smells like. It's like a really sexy skin smell. And there's a little bit of pepperiness to it, like a little bit of, not spiciness, but pepper. I think it's the carnation in this. This fragrance lasts forever. If I spray this on my skin, it will last through a shower. And if I'm not really in the mood for like that opening 30 minutes, I can just like wash my wrists and I'll get straight to that dry down, that like honeyed skin smell. Some people describe this with like a cigarette note and like, I don't want to be rude, but like underwear. And I do not get that at all. It definitely smells sexy, but it doesn't smell obscene to me. It might be my bottle. I believe this was like a reformulated, I don't know if it was like Cody or some big brand bought Vivienne Westwood and reformulated it. So maybe it's my batch, but sometimes I'm just in the mood for like a classic scent that will last me all day but smell like different fragrances throughout the day, and this really hits the spot. So for the past short while, I have been kind of on a deep dive of Shalimar, and Shalimar EDP, the queen. I've been wearing this quite a bit. I have been wearing my vintage formulation in the EDT concentration, but this version is a hell of a lot more wearable every day, in my opinion. I'll do a whole video on my other vintage batches another time, and I'll just talk about the EDP because this is still easily obtainable. This fragrance took me a really long time to get to know and to appreciate. The vanilla in here is incredible. There's a little smokiness, a little leather, and I get all of it, and it smells amazing. This is one that I think fragrance enthusiasts really spend quite a bit of time trying to understand and appreciate because it is so revered in the fragrance community. I think if I wasn't into fragrances and I was walking through like a Macy's and I smelled this, I would be like, ugh, not for me. But lately I have just been loving it. It smells so good. And a lot like Boudoir, it changes quite a bit. There's a nice citrusy opening, and then the smoke in the middle, and the leather. And then the leather doesn't exactly leave, but it turns into more of a skin scent leather. And then there's just that delicious vanilla left at the end. This, it's just been eating away at me for the past few weeks. It smells so good. I highly recommend trying it if you've never tried it and you like vanillas. Tread with caution and give it multiple chances. Don't buy like a single milliliter to try. You're gonna need to try it over the course of months, unless you love it right away, in which case, lucky you. My last fragrance is another Shalimar because, like I said, I've been on a deep dive lately. This is Shalimar Parfum Initial, which was released in 2011. I believe it was only released that year, and it is still, you can still find it. It's just a little expensive. And hopefully you don't find a fake. This fragrance still retains some of that Shalimar EDP vanilla, but there's an emphasis on this sweet iris and caramel. To me, the woman I see when I smell this is a librarian. I've said it before, and I apologize if you're hearing this for like the third or fourth time, but she is uptight, you know, skin covered, well dressed, but her skirt is tight and she just has like a sexy look. This is definitely a sexy fragrance. I think I just get this vision in my mind of this sexy woman who looks a little unapproachable, but I don't know if you're of her taste. She's interested. I don't know what I'm saying. The sweet iris, similar to Labelle, but it's not that like thick, syrupy patchouli scent. It's a lot more light than that, and I almost get like a little bit of dustiness, which I think is from the iris. This fragrance is a little more wearable than Shalimar EDP, and I think this works in more temperatures than the Shalimar EDP. Shalimar I like in colder weather. This fragrance I like anytime. It's so good in all weather. Warm weather brings out more of the sweetness, and I think the cooler weather brings out more of the iris. That is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed my video. Don't forget to check out Mojann's video, which I will have linked in the description box. I would love to hear what is on your perfume tray for the fall, and if you've tried any of these, and especially if you have some vintage or classic perfumes for me to try. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one.